Punch it, Chewy! What's cracking, guys? Omar Esop here. In this video today, we are finally talking about programming. Yes, strength programming, if you want to become stronger. This table right here, called Prilepin's table, contains everything you need to know in terms of volume, reps, set, intensity, what you should do in order to become stronger, as I said before. Now let's give a brief history of strength programming. Where does this come from? Who's Prilepin? Well, Prilepin was a Soviet strength coach for Olympic lifting. And this table actually, much like most of powerlifting, is taken from Olympic lifting. It still applies, but its basis is, I believe, in 70s Soviet style training. What they observing thousands of athletes, what they determined was optimal. This table, though, if you take a look and you compare virtually any program that's out there right now, Wendler's 531, the Cube Method, Boris Shako, who has some amazing programming, it's all around this right here, this table, because this table determines at what percentage, what rep range, and ultimately how many sets, the total volume you should do. So all strength programming comes from this table. So if we can understand this, we can first of all determine our own programming, but also understand why some of these programs work. So if we want to become stronger, let's dive right into this. First off, it's broken into 4 different categories based upon percentage of a 1 rep max. So we got 4 columns, percentage of 1 rep max, how many reps approximately you should do, a rep range, and then the total volume. Total volume is determined by multiplying your reps times the sets. So if you do that 5 by 5, that strength base, that's 25 reps, right, in total. So that's be your rep total. The last column is what you should approximately shoot for, right? Your optimal rep total, approximately, what they determined back in the 70s. It still applies today. So we have a percentage of a 1 rep max. So if you're training below 70%, right? So if you deadlift 500 pounds right here, like the example I'll go over, that's about 350 pounds or less. Usually what you'll be training around is 3 to 6 reps, so once again 5 is a great number, right? And your rep total will be within the range of 18 to 30, optimal 24, so that 5 by 5 certainly nearly hits the mark, right? Which is why it's a great program. Wendler's 531 also applies. You might be asking yourself though, why should I do this rep range, right? Why should I do this total volume? Why is this optimal? Well, what they found, if you do more than this over an extended period of time, it will fry your central nervous system. At the same time, if you do insufficient volume, so if you're one of those guys trying to always get a new 1 rep max, right, and they're always pushing it kind of around here, 85% plus, you're getting insufficient volume. So if you work up to a heavy single, you might not get the volume requisite in order to force a training adaptation. So really, this table, from observing thousands of lifters, and now with all the powerlifting programs, it neatly applies to every single thing that you do. So when you want to determine, you're like, oh, well, what should I do today? I want to do like a 5 by 5. What should be my percentage? Well, just take a look right here. What's 5 by 5? It's approximately 24 reps. It'd be something below your 70%, usually right around there. If instead you want to do a 3 by 3, that rep range you're using, you're going more towards the 80-some% range. What you'll notice with a lot of programming, it basically works throughout this range. And here's what I mean. A deload week, so if you did 3 sets of 8 repetitions, 3 by 8, that's 24 right here. That's a deload week. If you did it with 60%, that's a deload. So you have deload, and you have the majority of your training actually occurs right around here. And then when you want to do a max effort, when you want to hit some new PRs, you're floating in this category right here. So all of training is right in these 4 categories. Your deloads, the vast majority of your training is Jeremy, as you guys have observed, 70 to 80%, maybe upwards of 85%, and then finally, max effort. Now, to give you a very crude example when we talk about microcycles, how you should determine your weekly training, a microcycle is usually 8 to 12 weeks. So what I have here is a 12-week cycle. This individual has a 500-pound deadlift, and he wants to get better. American-style programming usually is higher intensity, lower volume, right? The goal is to try and get PRs very frequently, whereas I would say the Eastern Bloc, Russian, Bulgarian method is more about volume, lower percentages, and making gains over time, building that solid strength base. So right here is a crude example programming based upon Prilepin's table, his chart. So if his 1 rep max is 500 pounds, here's a 12-week cycle to try and get better. as you can observe, we first start really below 70%, right, with that 5x5, wiring in that technique, that form. And really, for over 70% of the entire training cycle, you're training below 80% of your 1 rep max, as you'll see many programs. So right here we have the pounds, we have first on this side right here is the actual reps and then times the set. So if we say 5x5, that's 5 reps times 5 sets. You can see all the way by the 12th week, he's actually doing 495 for a double. Now this technically would be a PR because that would estimate his 1 rep max above 500 pounds. If he ran this same microcycle again, he would merely shift the weights up by approximately 5 to 15 pounds and he should once again hit another PR. The key with programming is that it's sustainable, right? You want long-term progress. Too many guys will focus on this range right here when it comes to strength training. They want to always hit PRs. They chase PRs. But the foundation of strength, as you see with this program right here, is really between the what? 70 to 85% range. And what you'll find with time, I'll say one more thing, why most people should stick kind of right in this band right here for the majority of their training. You got to wire good technique. When you go for a max effort, your form and technique, it's going to break down, inevitably. You have to build that solid strength base, right, as Ripto would say. And by doing most of your work right here, focusing on speed, you will maintain good form and carry it up with you. So just to neatly summarize, guys, when we talk about strength programming, Prilepin's table is everything. This is what we base all our training around when we do max efforts, when we do deloads, when we do the majority of our working sets. So if you want to determine if your program is sound, you should just take a look at this table right here. Does it fit in? If you're doing a 4x4, well, what percent of your 1 rep max is it? Does it fit into maybe the optimal range or maybe the total amount of recommended reps? If it doesn't, then you need to alter your programming. This right here is just a basic overview. There's so much to cover when it comes to strength programming. So if you want to see more videos when it comes to strength programming, make sure to like this video, leave a comment below, and let me know what you guys want to see. Thank you so much for watching. We thank the Eastern Bloc, and I'll see you guys in that next video. Peace.